The element of having stage breaks and stage points is something that might need to be looked into here as we move forward in NASCAR's Big Three series. Asher Fair of Beyond the Flag wrote an article about this, first referencing the previous format, the 4-round 10-race knockout championship 4 playoff format that came in 2014 and went until last year. Says the 2014 to 2025 playoff format was widely considered one of the most blatantly gimmicky elements of a sport that has embraced one too many gimmicks over the years, slowly alienating the core fan base and causing more and more fans to head to the exits. They needed the likes of Mark Martin to be in the room for them to make a decision to move towards a chase format again versus a playoff format. It still means that there is a reset after a specific number of races, but after that it's most points earned. However, the balance of points given out at the end of a race relative to what you can do at certain portions of the race might need to be addressed. The stage racing was put in partly to do with the win you're in format. Also, to be completely fair, I think it was put in because the TV people that were showing the races wanted places where they could guarantee having a yellow and they could go and take commercials instead of what they generally do, which is take a commercial anywhere between 7 and 15 laps, every 7 to 15 laps during a green flag run. The stage racing does provide a certain reset, but it also is basically putting in a competition caution at certain points. Instead of having the crew chiefs and engineers and teams figure out strategy during the race and having to figure out fuel for the entire race, they're figuring out fuel and tires and everything based on the stages, the stage breaks until the final stage. One thing that Asher Fair brings up is the point value being the 1 point per position, other than the difference between first and second, where they made first 55 points, second 35. It used to be 40, 39 and go down the road. But so there is a difference there, but in theory you could end up winning 2 stages and finish. In his case, he brought up, in other words, leading at some random lap during a race could be worth as many as 20 total positions in the race results. It's ludicrous, and the 22nd place finisher could end up tying for second in total points scored simply because of it. The balance is something that probably does need to be addressed. His idea is no stage cautions and more points for race finishes relative to stage results. Hopefully NASCAR doesn't stop making changes just because they've arrived on a new playoff format, and hopefully if year one a new playoff format does turn out to prove that there's still work to be done, NASCAR X. We will see what comes of that. In terms of stage racing, I don't think NASCAR is going to get rid of it anytime soon because of the TV partners. I do think that the addressing of how the points are allotted is probably something that is more likely to come around here as we move forward. But tune in here to Motorsports Reports for all your NASCAR, IndyCar, and other racing news, and also tune in to the show I do, the Grip Strip Podcast, along with my good friend Josh, on all podcast platforms.